Hello, we are live. We are live. I know I didn't prep you for being live, but we are live and happy Friday.
Happy Friday is right.
Yes, so I want to start with our normal disclosure, which all these stories are intimate to the person and not to be taped or discussed to re traumatize anyone. The purpose of our show, Everybody Has a Story, is to provide an opportunity for incarcerated people and formerly incarcerated people, also people who are involved in the system, to talk about their stories with criminal offenses, medical issues, foster homes, child protection services, doula services, reentry matters, family matters, and any mental health issues. So today we have the opportunity of speaking with Antoinette Johnson, who is currently incarcerated in Shakopee Women's Prison in Minnesota and is currently doing life without parole. This is her second occurrence on our podcast show, Everybody Has a Story. And so we're just going to re-interview her and talk about where she's at right now. So thank you for calling today, Antoinette. I appreciate you. You know how much I love you and care for you. And so why are we choosing to create this opportunity to speak about your story again?
I would believe just to bring more awareness and to speak for people who don't speak, and I think who are kind of afraid to speak, and then for those who just need to hear something. I always get like an email or when I call somebody, they're like, we need to hear something else. We need to hear you again. So just to keep people informed on what's going on, up to date.
Right, makes sense. So it's almost been a year since we spoke about what happened to you. Are there any changes that you would like to discuss that have changed from the last time we interviewed you?
Well, I have gotten a lot more people reaching out. I'm working on putting my story within a magazine and working towards trying to get the felony murder law changed still, and I think that's going really well. And another day down. Thank the Lord. Because it's another day down, another day closer.
Sorry, I'm having some. What did you say?
I said it's another day down and another day closer to me getting out of here.
This is true. This is very, very true. Um, do you have any current or immediate needs while being incarcerated?
I I don't really think that I do. I can't think of any current needs or anything. Pictures are always good. Cards are always good, which I actually got your card a couple days ago. Thank you. It
You're
was amazing. As
welcome.
always, I love them. Videos, people can always send money. Like, there's so many things that you can do for incarcerated people. It's always money, cards, pictures, videos, letters. It's just a little thing.
Right.
So, it's nothing big, and I love getting cards. It's just a point of knowing that you're thought of, just someone that thinks of you. So, and a lot of times you don't really get that, and a lot of times people don't know. So,
Right. It's definitely of importance to reach out to your loved ones who are incarcerated and uplift them as much as possible throughout, their experience, because they need to be exposed to positivity and they need to be exposed to, the outside world. They don't know what's going on. They can only know what we tell them and what they hear from on the media, which we know sometimes is not even true and factual. So,
Come on. Showing. I know that firsthand.
right. So, another question, I mean, to let's dig deeper, I know that I asked for what your immediate needs are, but like, what can we do for you as a community? Because it may not be that someone can send money or even someone has time to sit down and write a letter, but as a community, what do you need from us to do for us to do for you so that your story can be heard and that you can be ultimately released?
Just push the story, just reshare, just talk about it with different people. If you know people who are in legislation that, are going to be one of these people that is voting on this law, talk to them, meet with them, just get together and meet with everybody as a whole. Everybody can work collectively together and be intentional, and not just for me, it's for everybody else that has also been in the same situation that I'm in and who are trying to get out of the situation that I'm in.
Right. Right. So get to the seat at the table and ask for those laws to be changed that cause people to be held accountable for things that they didn't commit. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right. Cool. So what law is that you're referring to?
It's the felony murder law, and so it's the 1437 Senate bill and the 609.05 accomplice liability.
Okay. All right. So I got a big question. This one gonna blow your mind, so you gotta be ready for it, okay?
Oh, shoot. Okay. I'm trying.
It's important for us to speak things into existence, and I'm a firm believer of that. And so I want to know, what are your plans for when you get released?
Oh my goodness. I think my first plan is to, if I have to go meet with, if I have a probation officer or whatever I have to do, I'll do that. But outside of that, I want to go and get all four of my children. I just want to go pick them up. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I don't care if I just sit in a car, sit in a park, sit anywhere and just look at them, just hug them, just feel them, just smell them, just everything. And then I want to go get me some McDonald's French fries. So I could dip it. I need to dip my fries in a fries.
Not the McDonald's fries.
Girl, with no sauce. Come on. Just the simple things, like just something that simple. Because when I'm released, the only thing I have that I own is what I'm leaving with. I don't have nothing else. And you know what? That's fine. Because what I have is my sanity. What I have is my children. What I have is my freedom.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. That's all I need. That's it.
Right.
And my story's gonna post me. I'm good.
Right. So embrace them babies and get y'all some Mickey D's. Hey now.
Come on. Yes.
Ain't that simple?
After that, we gonna figure out something else. After that, whatever. It is whatever.
Right. That's real though. That's real. Well, oftentimes people paint a picture of incarcerated people. Can you tell us about who you are?
So, let's see who I am. I would say that I'm a thinker. I would say that, I'm someone that cares about other people. I'm a mother. I'm a black woman. I'm somebody that struggled like somebody else. I'm somebody that was in the mud, but I brought myself out. And I'm that could be a good thing. Sometimes it could be a bad thing. And just having to have conversation, that's hard, especially with children.
Right.
So, and I had to have that conversation with my kids yesterday. They asked me why I'm here, and, and I didn't murder anybody. And then for my son to ask me, well, why didn't you lie? And I had to be honest with them. I thought about it. I thought about lying. But what does that do for us as Black people? A lot of people lie and just take a deal. I'm not going to lie and take a deal. So, and that means if I had to stay here, I had to stay here. But in some way, shape, and form, a door is going to open, something is going to happen, and somebody is going to start listening. So, people started listening. So, I couldn't lie because what happened to me isn't just for me. And I say that all the time. This isn't just for me. It's not just for me. People that came before me, people that came after me, people that came the same time as me. It's for the underdog. And I'm one of those. I've always been counted out my whole life. But me being counted out, I still stand and I still rise.
Right. And count you out now, but they ain't gonna be able to count you out later. Period. Pooh. Don't get me started now.
I know that's right.
Cause I be done been like, hey, look.
That one though.
So, my next question was just what you just talked about. Your children are aware of you being incarcerated. How do they feel about your incarceration? What kind of conversations are you guys having about mom being away from home?
So, they know that I have a life without parole sentence. They understand what it means, but it's something about when you're fearless in front of your kids and you encourage them and you continue to tell them, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. That's something that's embedded in their head, and they're going to believe it. And then they're going to have the same faith that you have because you tell them. So you can tell your kids things, and they're going to listen. So when I tell my kids things, they listen and they believe it, and that's because I believe it. So I just feel like you always have to be honest with your kids, always. I don't never want my kids to wonder or know. And they're old enough now where they can look on the internet and see stuff.
Right.
So my son, he talking about something. Well, Mom, they said they got you on camera. I said, yeah, they do have me on camera. At Walmart. That's where they can see me clearly. At Walmart. At Walmart. They see my vehicle in front of the daycare.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what they have. But don't read into what the media says.
Right.
Because it's not always 100% true.
Right.
Yeah.
So what other kind of things do you guys talk about? Do they, say how much they miss you being home with them, or bring up memories of the things you guys used to do together?
Of course. They talk about, so when you get out, we're going to get a house and I can have my own room, right? You have 1 minute remaining. Slow down, Jim Shoe. Slow down. I'm going to try to get a house so you can have your own room.
Right.
That's all they thinking about, their own room.
Right.
We talk about how they're doing in school. We talk about the things that they need. They always asking me for some money to buy some snacks. That's cool. Like, I don't know where they thought money grow on trees. They doing it like she was. Listen, I ain't doing it like that no more. When I was home, y'all had whatever you want. Shoot, it's a struggle.
Right.
So, but they always say that they miss me. They always say that they love me. They tell me about their day. They ask me what did I eat. So it's the conversation is always something different. It's always funny. It's always just questions, and they're actually just now starting to ask questions. And so I like that because I didn't want to go to them. I always want them to come to me and feel comfortable.
Right.
And so that's a good way to let them feel like they're involved. Thank you for using GTL.
All right, y'all. As y'all heard, her call ended. However, she's going to give us a call back, and we will continue our conversation with Antoinette. As you heard, Antoinette has 4 children. They are in different homes with different immediate family members, which is awesome because they have an opportunity to continue to establish those bonds that are important for us to flourish in the world. Placing kids in unfamiliar spaces with unfamiliar people, that even as far as genetics go, as far as culture goes, as far as all of that type of stuff goes, is of importance to keep children in family members' homes as much as possible. I've heard personal stories of people being technically stripped of the things their culture teaches them. So
An inmate at the Minnesota Department of Corrections, Shakopee Correctional Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, hang up or press. This call is from a correction facility.
All right,
and
we're
is
back.
subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
all right, so we got you back. And
Yes, I'm back.
while you were away, I was just talking about the importance of, if children have to be separated from their parents, the importance of placing those children in families who are related directly to the person, and not putting children in foster homes and causing that disruption, because ultimately that has an effect on the child later on down in life. And so those family ties are important. So yeah.
That is so true. And a lot of people don't really know. People just see me and they instantly think, oh, this is a rich little girl just because of my parents. But they don't know where I come from. They don't know that I came from emergency shelter to a foster home to living with my parents. So they don't, people, they just see me and they just think, oh, this is pretty face, and oh, she's so nice, this, that, and the third. But you don't know what's behind the smile. You don't know the hurt. You don't know what I have endured. So one thing that I'm so grateful to God is that my kids have never been in the system. I've never had to worry about them being in the system. They've always been placed with family. And so that's something that is really huge, and it causes a lot of mental health, and it's just trauma.
Yep.
And that's why kids grow up to be just angry. And, the flip side of that is they shut down instead of being angry, and they're scared.
Right. And a lot of times, what I've experienced is, when I worked inside the prisons as a doula, is that the same women who were incarcerated were the same women whose mothers had been incarcerated, or they were in some type of foster home system where they felt like they didn't even just get love, the mere love that is needed to flourish in life. Everybody needs it. Everybody.
That is so true. Just to say something nice to somebody, just a kind word, just just to say, how's your day going? Like, just to know that someone cares is something that a lot of people need, and a lot of times people don't get that. And I think people get so wrapped up in themselves where they forget that about other people. Like, it's not just about you. And I feel like if people would realize that, like, this world would be completely different. Like, it's just not about me. And it took me coming to prison to realize, like, it's not just about you. It is not about you. It's about everybody, because it takes everybody for a world to function properly.
Right.
And our world ain't functioning properly. And I don't think it's going to function properly until Trump is out of office. But, that's just my personal opinion and stuff. Don't let nobody, don't listen to me if you don't believe it. But that's my own personal opinion. And so it is just going to take, it takes that
Right. That's period. And when people realize that and get back to that, get back to loving on one another, get back to asking people, are they truly genuinely okay? Not just saying like, are you okay? And then somebody like, yeah, I'm okay. Nah, are you really okay? You can sense it, you can hear it. It's out in the open, and it's okay not to be okay too. So yeah, and just say that, make sure you place it on the right ears, because to go and talk to somebody who is basically struggling through the same things as you is one thing. Y'all can have sympathy for y'all can have sympathy for one another, but find you somebody who uplifts you and brings you to the thinking point of thinking beyond the here and the now, because all of that is of importance. Like, that's what keeps you going, is that you have to be able to bounce things off of a person who has that knowledge and experience to uplift people. That's essential.
Yep, it sure is. It definitely is.
So my next question is, have you applied for a post-conviction?
I have not applied for my post-conviction because it's certain times after you lose, in trial or an appeal or something like that, and my time has lapsed. So my time has pretty much lapsed for everything. So the only thing that I can do now is just wait on this law. And I feel like that, there was so many people that reached out, there was so many different lawyers, there was so many different just, pretty much everything. And for some reason, nothing fell through. And I think it didn't fall through because it wasn't God's plan. And so I know now that his plan is just to, take me, an ordinary black woman who's been rejected by society, and put into this position that I'm in now to be a value and service for social justice. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so I accept that. And when I started to accept that, that's when certain doors started to open. Because legislation just don't come here and talk to everybody. People from legislation. The commissioner don't just know you by your name or in your face. When you say their name, they know who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just certain things like that. God knew what he was doing, and he knew where he was placing me. And so I feel like I don't need none of those fancy lawyers or anything like that. What I'm doing now is what I'm supposed to do. It's where I'm supposed to be. Like, these people are really talking about me. These people are really saying my name and knowing my name.
Right.
So I know this is right. So I don't need any of that stuff. I don't need it. What I need is to keep following God's plan. Because whatever he got for me is for me. And you can't take it, you can't close that door, you can't do nothing, because it's already open. It's already mine.
Written.
So this is what I'm supposed to do. This is where I'm supposed to be right now. So next year, I'm going to be where I'm supposed to be, eating my french fries.
You're going to be sitting right here in the studio like, hey, what they say 3 times. What they say 3 times is a charm. We're going to say, hey, this is her 3rd time, and guess where she at? Right here.
Like, what? I told y'all.
Right.
I told y'all I was going to do it. I didn't know how. I didn't even ask how. I just had to keep believing. And I don't think people realize, like, whatever you put out in this atmosphere is what you're going to get. So when you continue to put positivity, when you continue to push away negativity and bad juju, like, everything is going to come to you. So, and that's all I've been doing. Like, I've just been pushing it. Like, I'm leaving. I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep helping. I'm going to keep being of service. And that's what I believe. And
Right.
I'm going to keep believing. I'm going to keep
Right.
And that's what's been getting me through.
That's what's going to get us all through. If you don't know, y'all, that's what you need. A little bit of faith, a little bit of more faith, and a lot of bit of more faith.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
Yes.
Shoot.
Yes. Faith is the substance for all things hoped for. A.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I know that we have talked about, your story before and why you are currently doing life without parole. And I want you to speak about that again and just say, as much as you would like, of course, why are you doing life without parole?
So I am doing life without parole because of a system, a failed system that states because I knew about a murder, because a co-defendant said that I did, that I have to do life. And, I don't think when people realize when you have co-defendants and they turn state, then that means their physical evidence becomes your physical evidence. And the circumstantial evidence that you have completely goes away. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. So to not have any physical evidence against you and having a co-defendant, that can become your physical evidence. And that is why this felony murder law bill is so important, because it changes the accomplice liability, like to where you're not at fault for something that someone else did. And I feel like it should have always been like that, but, sometimes people don't see it that way. So because someone commits a murder and you can't say that they did it because you didn't see it. And that's something that I still stand on. That's something that I still believe. I'm not going to say that somebody committed a murder if I didn't see it.
Right.
I don't care what's in someone else's phone. I don't care what's going on. Like, I don't care. And I'm not going to get on a stand and I'm not going to lie for a system who lied their entire way through my case. I'm not going to support it because there's too many of us black people that are here because of a failed system, because of us being uneducated on a failing system that is not supporting us, that is just trying to hold us back. On top of us, we built this America that they're so-called thinking that they own. So I'm just not going to support it. I will never support it. And, people say to me all the time, like, I always get fan mail. And I never reply back because it's just ignorant. I don't know who it is, for one. I don't know who you are. I don't really want to. And I always hear, everybody makes a mistake. That's where you're wrong. If you educate yourself, then you would know that what I did wasn't a mistake. What I did was something that we should all do no matter what the consequences are, and that's to stand and stand firm in what you believe. And I'm always going to stand firm in what I believe. I'm not going to say that somebody killed somebody when I didn't see it. And if you don't like that answer, then that's just too bad. And that's just what I'm going to stick with, and that's it. That's the end of it. So don't tell me people make mistakes. Yeah, people do, but what I did, it wasn't a mistake. It was to stand up for the ones that are quiet. It was to stand up for the black people that took a deal knowing that they didn't do it because they're scared of getting this time. And I was scared too, but I knew what I stood for. And I always knew that God was going to get me through somehow. 4 years later, look at where I am, getting me through. 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. That's important. We talk about oftentimes in you and I's conversation about the importance of being honest throughout your whole entire life as much as you possibly can. And I know that honesty takes a lot of courage sometimes, But it is important to be honest, especially when it comes to the lives of other people. Here it is, we have Antoinette
You have 1 minute remaining.
who's sitting behind prison walls for a crime that she didn't commit and has 4 children who are away from her, who that is going to affect whether she comes home now, next year, or whenever she returns home. It affects them and their lives and their children's lives. And it's important that we look at those things when it comes to honesty about things of this nature.
That is true. That is so true. It really does affect. And I don't think that, you know what, it's not even about think. I don't believe the system cares. I don't believe they care. And especially the St. Paul Police Department, they don't care. They're not for anybody. They pick and choose who they help. And 9 times out of 10, it's a white person. Because I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen the same people, no, different people, white. Thank you for using GTL.
So the importance of telling these stories are important simply because you hear directly those who are impacted. It is hard to not be able to see your children, and especially for something that you merely didn't commit. A lot of times I get often questioned about if I feel like my friend is honest. And I can only say that she would be honest with me, simply because I know her character. And her and I share such a special relationship because with her last child, I was her doula. I was actually pregnant with my last child. And she happened to go in labor, and I went to the labor with her. Well, Antoinette had some complications and ended up bleeding. And her and her youngest child and I spent the first couple of years of life together, while Antoinette had to get to the emergency side of things, possibly surgery. So we hold a near and dear relationship. It's deeper than just your normal things. So I honor and respect her because during childbirth, she could have lost her life, and she chose me to be her doula at that time. Just talking about why we share such a special relationship and why I go so hard for you. Because I know you have a purpose. I know, that God left you here for a reason. And talking about how I hopped up and pushed that button for all them people to come in and wheel you up out that hospital room.
Oh my goodness, girl. If you weren't there, that would have been the end of my life.
Man.
That would have been the end of it. And, I'm so grateful. God places, He gives you angels. And it's what you do with them. It's how you treat them. It's how you show your appreciation to them. That they'll stick around. They'll be your angel for a lifetime. Or they'll be your angel for that moment. And, since I met you, you've been my angel.
Oh, don't make me cry.
I was a teenager. So, you've been you just been my angel. And it wasn't, anything that I did, anything that was just special about me. It's just something that was special about you, that God placed in you. And so He gives you those people, and those people are the people that you have to appreciate. Those are the people that you have to love, and those are the people that you keep around. So I'm always going to keep you around. I'm always going to appreciate you. I'm always going to love you. And I know that you don't get enough appreciation. I know that, it seems like so many people just want to use you for your talent. but they don't want to give you the flowers, per se. And they don't really support you, you know, and I would appreciate it if people would support my angel and appreciate her. Let her know that she's doing something right, because what she's doing is for, you know, everybody's family. It's not just for her friends, it's for people that she don't know, people that, you know, she never even thought of, heard of. And, you know, so when you show people that you care and that you appreciate them, good things in the atmosphere are going to come back. So appreciate her, support her, y'all. Support, support, support. Everything she does it on her own. Financially, mentally, physically, everything. So in any way that you feel that you can support her, support her. I don't care if it's a shout out on Facebook. Shout out, everybody has a story. She did that this week. Something.
Yeah.
Let people know that you care.
Right. Well, I'm glad you just talked like for a minute, because I was over here crying. I know y'all ain't see my tears, but I was trying to hold them in. But I appreciate that. You know, I'm humbled and honored to be able to be in the spaces that I am in. And my vision and purpose is solely to bring about awareness and support, you know, because I don't know what it's like to be incarcerated. I've never been incarcerated. Been charged with a crime I didn't commit, but never been incarcerated. And so to be in your situation, my heart aches all the time, because the separation even of your mere children, and knowing who you are as a person, knowing how much you have to offer the world, knowing how good your heart is, knowing that you give from the depths of your bottom pit, whatever it is, you give forth all of that, knowing all of that, I have to go hard for you. Hearing other stories, I have to put them in the eye of those who may not hear it on a normal routine basis, because truly in every single person there is a story of something that brought you through. I know it is, because it happened for me.
That's so true. It is. You know, it's so like we get so looked over sometimes. Like we're like I literally consider myself the underdog all the time. But within being the underdog, somehow we always end up on top. Always. And so, you know, I'm like the one that will still fight for the underdog, because there's still going to be an underdog somewhere until they get the courage and strength to know that they can fight and they can pull themselves up and they can be on top.
Right. And we need the help of people. You know, if you see what they say, if you see something, you say something. You don't just, you know, just let things pass by and just,
not say nothing.
Yeah, and sweep it under the rug and investigate for yourself. I mean, seriously, you can't think that the news and social media is going to teach you every single thing you need to know in life. It's time to pick up books. It's time to read. It's time to grow. It's time to develop. It's time to tap into places and spaces you have never, ever even imagined. If it's even an inkling of something you like to do, try it out. What are you going to lose?
Yep, you lose when you don't try. And that's something that I learned being here in prison. I'm losing when I'm not trying. I'm losing when I'm not speaking up. I'm losing when I just do nothing. So anything that I want to do, I'm going to do, and I'm going to try, because it doesn't hurt to try it. It just doesn't hurt. It hurts you when you don't try. And I don't think people understand that. So try everything. I would try pretty much anything once. Just try it.
Right, as long as it's positivity, because all that other stuff,
Listen, that's for all the birds and the bugs that I don't go outside to deal with. Ugh.
Yeah, it's not positive, we ain't trying that.
Right. Absolutely. No bad juju. None.
Right, no bad juju, girl.
None. Zero.
For real. So, what kind of things are you doing to work on yourself while you're incarcerated?
I'm educating myself. That's exactly what I'm doing. Like I'm picking up a law dictionary and I'm going through it. I'm reading it. Like yesterday, I found out that I'm like, wow. Um, my charges are first degree premeditated, so it's murder. I didn't know that you can be charged with homicide, and that is something completely different than murder.
Right.
It's just the little things that you hear, it's the little things that you see, and you just educate yourself. And three things that the system does, and that's educate, incarcerate, and medicate. They educate you on what they want you to know. They incarcerate you for what they want you to be incarcerated for. And then they try to medicate you. Absolutely not happening with me. You're not going to medicate me. You're not going to incarcerate. You're not going to keep me incarcerated for what you think I should be incarcerated for. And you're not going to educate me on this bull crap that you think you're going to feed me. So you might take my name, give me this number. You might have me sitting in prison, but you don't take my brain. You're not taking my mental, and you're not going to change my thoughts on what I believe. So that is three things that the system will try to do to you. And those are three things that you don't allow. You
Right.
educate yourself.
Right, we have the tools and the resources to do it. And even you just said, even where you at and in the spaces where you are, you're able to educate yourself. So there's absolutely no reason why out here we are not educated on the things that affect us and the things that affect our community. And I know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. Everybody knows somebody that's incarcerated. Everybody knows somebody who has been affected by foster care. Everybody knows somebody who has had a medical issue that did not run in their favor. Everybody knows somebody. Don't matter what color you are, you know somebody.
Doesn't matter. Yep, you sure do. And those are the type of things that you should educate yourself on. And then I just take like self-time. Like I take time to evaluate myself. I figure out, ways of talking to people. Like I change my jargon, because sometimes you can't talk to everybody the same way. Some people need, to hear something different. Some people need to hear that, you care. Some people need you to be hard on them, and just stern. So I just kind of try to just change my attitude. I focus on what I need to do for myself. Like, how can I help myself to help the next person? What area in my life am I still struggling with? What area in my life am I doing well with? What area in my life do I need to change? So those are the things that I kind of do for myself while I'm here.
Yeah, a lot of self-reflection is of importance. We don't know what we don't know. However, if you don't know it, you got to figure it out. Seeking education is key. And that doesn't mean you have to go into a structure. You do not have to attend college. You do not have to do those things. There's simple ways that we can educate ourselves by even going to the local library and grabbing books that are of interest, checking out things on the computer. I've learned so much stuff over the time of the current pandemic, and being able to do a lot of Zoom calls with even people out of state. Like, it's amazing how much information you can learn from people who are doing things that are changing our world. And it's important because we always say, these things aren't right, but the only way that we can make sure that these things don't happen to our people or the people or whoever that it is affecting is by getting out and changing those narratives. Because if we don't, it's going to continue to be the same cycle over and over again, no matter what happens. So we have to go and educate ourselves about the different laws. We have to go and educate ourselves about who's sitting in office. We have to educate ourselves about why is this person wanting to run for this position. What are they going to bring to the table? Because ultimately it affects us in every which way. It affects each and every one of us, even for your neighbors. Like, it doesn't matter because you come from a different background. If crime happens in your community, guess what? It affects you because it is your community. So you should want better. You should want change. You should want these things to be on equal level playing field for everybody because it's inclusive. And if it doesn't include everybody, then guess what? It's already a loss. We're already at a loss.
Yep, that is so true. People just think that, oh, we just have to vote for the president. No, you have to vote for the mayor. You have to vote for the governor. Like, you have to vote for people in Congress. Like, it's not just about just the president. No, it's not just about him.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people, what they fail to realize. And when you change your community, when it's a lot of crime in your community, people don't realize that the housing market goes down in your community.
Exactly.
Like, if you have a home, that the price on that home is going to go down because of the environment that your community's in. So once you not just focus on yourself and worry about yourself, you have to focus on everybody. You have to worry about everybody. Well, how is this going to benefit everyone? I'm in this community. What can I do to be beneficial to everyone in this community? You have 1 minute remaining. And once people do that and realize that, then things will start to go better.
Right. Yeah, it's a collective thing. And are you calling back one more time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a collective thing that we must learn and grow with because essentially we don't get to choose, who lives next to us. We don't have those choices, but we can choose to get up and move if that doesn't work out for us. However,
That's the only choice you got.
it makes more sense to me that you would want peace and equality in your neighborhoods, that you would want more understanding and events that are helpful, things that are helpful, community centers, parks that have activities for the children, support groups for families. Everybody deals with trauma. Nobody is obsolete from that. So having trauma-informed care, I know that I've heard a lot about arms workers and things like that. Get access to those people who have opportunities as such, because everybody needs help. I've always heard, ever since I was a very little girl, it takes a village to raise a child, and it truly does. And I know that from being a young mother at the age of 15, having a child in high school, and I ended up having my own place, and also I was on the A&B honor roll. Shout out to Gwen Onema, who was the coordinator at North High School, and made a bet with us that if we stayed on the honor roll, we could go to Red Lobster. And back then, in high school, Red Lobster was expensive. So I was excited about being able to be provided with that opportunity. And so I pushed for that every single semester. I will push to go to Red Lobster because she encouraged us to do that. And you need those things in our communities. No matter if you agree or disagree with teen parenting, you can decipher whether it's going to happen or not. You just have to be willing and ready to deal with the circumstances if that is something that happens. But we need to have all type of rehabilitation services. We need reentry services. I personally run a group, Reentry Matters, that we get together once a month, and it's for people who are coming out of incarceration, to have a support group from other people who have been affected by incarceration, to walk alongside one another, to make sure that your story is shared, but also that it is unique to, we've been through this situation, similar situation, and how can we process and deal with it together? Because it's one thing for somebody to tell you, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, but it's another thing that somebody tells you, look, I've experienced this in life, and because I've experienced this in life, this is why you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that.
Right.
So yeah.
Good point. Good point.
Let's see. I just want to, I don't know, I know we only have about 15 minutes
Yeah, I
to.
gotta be up on at 4:30 for count. Anybody that ain't never been to prison, you don't even know what count is. Let's tell y'all what count is. That means go to your room so they can come by and count you. Okay?
Count you, girl.
Get me out of here. Get me out of here.
Say, I was wondering today if it was possible, but can I get out?
Can I get please?
Can I get a
That one though.
Can I get a release today?
I mean, come on, somebody release me.
Right, phone a friend, maybe.
Shoot.
So I just want to give you some, time and space to just go ahead and say, your closing remarks. We have about, you said 4:30, so 9 minutes. So you got 9 minutes, maybe 7, just so I can close out. And just go ahead, just tell us what else you want us to know, and how we can be of support, and moving forward, what's next?
So, let me see. What is next for me? That's a good question. I guess just continuing to educate myself, be aware of what's going on out there, stay informed. Let's see. Just keep doing what I'm doing. Continue to stay positive. Continuing to be of service. Talk to my kids. Still, try to keep my ears to the streets per se. And just be useful to myself, to other people. Continue to listen. Continue to bounce off different ideas. And just continue to stay in prayer and in faith. And let's see, what people can do for me is just continue to follow everything that Sierra is doing with the Everybody Has a Story. Continue to repost. Just talk about it. Share, and more share.
Right.
And I wrote this poem, and I really don't share things that I write. I really don't, I write music. Like, a lot of people don't really know, or don't really know me. So, and I haven't wrote in so long, but for some reason, creativity is just starting to come back, and I think it's coming back because I'm finding myself again. I'm finding a new me. I'm just knowing what I'm supposed to do. And so the poem is called Strength. So strength is the ability to know that when you don't see the light in front of you, look to the heavens. Strength is overcoming fear and adversity. Strength is when someone says no, closes the door in your face, but God opens the door and says yes. at the vanguard of my unequivocal belief in self-determination. Strength is being sick and tired of being sick and tired and doing something about it. Strength is not only making a difference for myself, but for the people before me, the ones that will come after me. Strength is not settling for less with input, but instead standing for something and never falling for anything. Strength has been a loss that I've turned into a better game. Through all my ups, downs, highs, lows, and pain, I have found me, and I have found I am strength. So, I just want people to know that you can find your own strength. You can, sit back, sit down, but it's not going to do anything. So the more that you reach out, that you continue to be of service, you find strength. So that's something that I just wanted to leave with all of you lovely folks out there.
That was powerful, girl.
Well, thank you.
I mean, sheesh. Give me the strength to finish this rest of this show. Like, bump. It's over. No, thank you for being who you are. Thank you for your encouraging words. It's oftentimes hard to uplift people when you are down and oppress yourself. And I think sometimes we don't take the time to understand that strength does come from adversity, and it comes from the things that you live up against, and you can't find your strength if you've never been weak.
I'm telling you, you can't find it until you hit rock bottom.
Exactly. And so I always think like, if I'm a fall, at least I'm a fall laughing. I ain't gonna fall crying. You feel me?
I'm telling you, I don't even have, I don't even have it in me anymore. Like I have this fight, and I'm talking about it's a fight.
Right.
And it's a fight for everybody.
Right.
For everybody that's in this same situation that I'm in. Being black and locked up. Being black with the system's knee on our neck for nothing. Just being black. So it's a fight. It's a struggle, but it's also a strength within there somewhere. And I'm finding it. And it's working. And I'm throwing these blows. So
There's this one song that I hear constantly. Actually, I listen to it every morning when I'm doing my morning walk. And it says, "Black people are golden," and it's by Toby. I can't pronounce his last name, but he says that black people are golden, and I truly believe we are golden, and we have to love on one another as such. You don't have to like everybody. That's not what life is intended about. But we do have to be in community with one another no matter what. And again, what happens down the street does affect you. What happens in your community does affect you. All of it affects you because it's trauma. And so whatever you can do, reach out, teach people, show people the way. Maybe you didn't talk to your neighbor down the street. Well, go talk to them. Wave, say hi, ask them if they're okay. People are hurting out here, and we need one another to process and thrive and deal. And if we don't have each other, it's going to continue to be the same cycles of the same stuff.
that is so true. So true.
So I know we're getting near and dear to our time. So I want to say, again, thank you, Antoinette, for coming on, spending your money to call, spending your time to have your voice heard, being vulnerable, speaking up. I appreciate you. I really, truly do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you too. And, this is money well spent. This is time well spent. As much as I can educate someone, as much as I can uplift someone, and as much as I can speak for someone, just doesn't have
Hey,
So
now.
thank you, and I appreciate you. Now everybody go share this.
Yes,
Go like
everybody go share this video. If you know somebody who else wants to come on, please email everybodyhasastoryLivepodcast@gmail.com. Otherwise, get in touch with me personally, directly. I love being able to provide this space to talk about what's real and what's true and what's going on right now, currently.
Absolutely.
All right, well, you have a peaceful night. I'll talk with you soon, and thanks again for calling.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in to Everybody Has a Story. It's been a good day. It's been a good podcast. Have a wonderful weekend.